Hi dudes, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping in. Today, Dude Neil is shooting from the base of Pikes Peak, one of the tallest 14,000 feet mountains in the Rockies. And I bring you to this place called Pulpit Rock. I do that because, I tend to give sermons. It's my job as a Dudeist priest. So, let me get my script and we'll begin this sermon. This week, Dude Neil has been wrestling with the death of Charlie Kirk and my avowed dislike of all he stood or sat for, as the case may be. You see, he was sitting when Tyler shut him up by shooting him in the throat. Charlie picked a bad day to wear a white shirt. People I respect are saying that we must mourn Charles. So what I've just said is a crime to the liberal community as well as MAGA. But this week, not this week, people I respect are saying this. In order to reject the political violence of the method of death, this video will make the case that the individual judgment is separate from the social issue of violence. First off, as you all know, I don't believe we die. If Charles actually existed, he was a being of infinite energy. His poles reversed and he left this illusion. That's all. He'll be back when his frequency again aligns with our electron. Possibly the only electron grouping that exists, in fact. So it probably won't be long. If, however, my never having actually observed him made Charles only a character in my story development, then I need to figure out what he represents, or represented. I'm guessing hate, specifically my lifelong hatred for, Christianity in general, but Christian nationalism specifically now. I've been warning about this since 1980. Charles is the catalyst for me to fully analyze why this dogma keeps, dogging me, so that I can let go of it and find peace. Their ambition has always been genocide for anyone not a Christian. That's why I think this is rather obvious, I think. If God sees only our soul, and thou holds dogmatic demands over it, then all souls must conform to that vision. There is no tolerance for variations. Differences are impure cancers of Satan, so they can't be tolerated by a true believer. This fundamental belief is completely antithetical to democracy. So our great divide, which is what Pikes Peak is on the eastern side of, so our great divide is unsurprising to Dude Neil. We have been careening towards theology since 1981, and thus the reason I've been an activist against it. but recklessly slouching in that direction for considerably longer. General Pike was a Christian, and his mission was to keep an eye on those Catholics, the Spaniards. Theocracy has simply acquired an edge, and they're going for our jugular. The Treasury. That's what occurred in 2008, but Barack Obama stopped them. See, they don't give a fuck about any other part of this. Christianity is all about judging character, so I'll be forgiven judging that of Charles. Simply put, and easily verifiable, he was a Nazi. I do not respect Nazis, and I don't recall stories of many mourning their deaths following World War II, even the innocent Germans who were merely soldiers. Character is not a word I often came across in my education of Nazism anyway. As a gay man of Jewish descent, all Nazis are my actual enemies. They will, if given a chance, kill me and make a lampshade from my skin, or a wallet. I suppose that would be more appropriate. So if he and I met during Civil War, Charles that is, I would have had to kill him in some manner, or die trying. As a distant relative of mine named James did, back in the Civil War days, back in the bad old days. Unless he suddenly changed in that instant. And there's the rub. Jesus warned us about judgments because someone might change. A Nazi might actually recognize my humanity, so I should not finalize judgment on them. Or we might change convictions, our convictions, so a judgment betrays our own failings. This, however, obviously doesn't apply to the dead. Their character is sealed, so our judgment is fine. Besides, they're not going to know what it is. I am happy that I'll never need to kill Charles before he could have killed me. Since the idea of civil war has now come up, I'll address the subject of political violence. And violence in general. War is a condition of extreme actions in which all parties kill or die. That is what they do. Possibly a painful death. I'll submit that this condition exists only when law breaks down. For a nation of law, Americans are surprisingly unhappy about laws. Every expansion, including our westward migration, started with a violent condition. Every one for themselves. That's pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, the cowboy ethic. Vietnam was an attempt to expand which didn't work because of global law. The OK Corral was the final nail for individual determination. Citizens began wanting communities without threat of death, so they could shop and manufacture stuff and have nice things. The Earps and Doc Holliday secured law over individualism and left just before Tombstone burned. Seams blew up or cracked, black diamonds came hard won, generations toiled and hacked for a pittance and black lung. Timing is everything, and this is Romeo. He's my new partner in crime for a while. Since then, we have learned a great deal about psychology, group behavior, our place in the universe, healthy development, and even economic stability. Sweden and Denmark demonstrated. Follow that idea. We have the knowledge and money to actually create the paradise Americans have claimed to be striving for. You know, that more perfect union. So why are we not happily going about doing it? Well, because a 2-century-old myth stands in our way. One that invariably leads to an antithetical view of our form of government. This myth is being foisted upon us by greedy political players, such as the Federalist Society and Heritage Group, who also don't favor democracy. They favor easily manipulated markets and were fed by zealots like Ronald Reagan and Mike Pence. Dislodging such zealots will now likely take violence, but we must remove them. If we don't remove them now, then Dude Neil has to conclude that we don't actually want that paradise, that more perfect union. Possibly we privately enjoy wasting money on lawsuits and programs that get reversed because we don't have a coherent idea of what we really want. In short, who we really are. What we have breeds cynicism, and the jokes for that are funny. It also gives us reasons to dislike others and feel better or superior about beating them competitively. God knows we Americans love competition. It's a better word than manipulation. If hating Christian nationalism is a fault, then I'm okay with that. I don't like lost causes, and perfection is certainly a lost cause. See my rumination about it. So that is not what I strive for. I hear that violence has no place in our political life. Well, tell that to those who threw the tea in Massachusetts Bay. That was an act of violence. So was the revolution. So please stop voicing this obvious untruth. Violence is simply not an attractive feature, and in the long run, makes society impossible. But it's commonly found throughout the universe in the short term. Rivers are violent. Wind extinguishing flame is violent. Stars spreading their minerals by exploding is violent. Satisfying our hunger is violent. Violence is how new things get created. After a cooling off period, of course. After I eat, I'm not hungry anymore. Satisfying hunger for power will probably be painful. Violence is also how Nazis, like Charles, to get back to him, often get taken out. Whether one agrees with the method or not, it is done. So let's all cool off quickly and maybe create something new. Something wonderful. Use it and let's start trying to make this a place worth living for. Or we can simply dissolve into the dustbin of time. I will likely not see which one Zen brings about, but our actions in these moments will be determinative of it. If I do see it, I hope it won't be for long. MAGA has made Dude Neil no longer wish to be here. Congratulations, folks. You've made my service to you feel ridiculous. Good luck.